Hello, crafty friends. I just thought I'd film a bit of an update and while I'm at it, maybe do a bit of a studio tour and a catch up. There hasn't been any videos on my channel for a long time. And what you're looking at right now is the reason why. So back in Feb, my little baby girl was born and we moved my son, he's 3, into my craft space. So there is no more late night crafting. This is now his room. And everything had to be reorganized and redone, and we had a TV on this wall because this used to be our spare living room, and then it turned into a craft space, and now it's Lockie's room. So that all got sold and sent off. We bought a set of drawers for Lockie's clothes, and they're all there, and all of my crafty supplies were reorganized and reprioritized. A lot of things had to go. And the stuff that I wasn't using, well, it pretty much got condensed. I got very creative with my spacing. This desk is now no longer a work desk, it's a storage desk. So all my knitting stuff is underneath. And I have one more underneath this desk, hidden in there. I can still work under there when I sit there, so it's not a problem. I don't have to pull it out or anything. But yes, so everything got prioritized underneath my son's bed. I've got underbed storage. So my sequins, 12 by 12 papers, and then this box here is all scrap paper that way back in the day I used to have printed copies of inspiration, card inspiration. Now I've got Pinterest for that, so we don't need that, so I didn't want to throw it out. So they're just all my son's paper that he can color on now. He just goes to that box and pulls stuff out. And as far as card making, since my little daughter was born, it's basically nada. So, and when I am in here, it's a massive rush because something's urgent and you just throw something together and I don't enjoy it, which is a shame. Just before she is born, I challenged myself actually, and I pulled out an old paper pad and I used it, all of it. It was a My Mind's Eye one. And it was a bit, not bright enough. Like the colors you can see are a bit dull. Does that make sense? So I used some inspiration from Christina Warner and made up a whole bunch of cards. They're not really my style. They're very busy. This is probably the closest to my style. So whereas I completed the challenge, I was happy to have done that. I don't know if I'd want to spend my crafting time doing this again, if that makes sense. So it's a good learning curve because there's a few other paper pads in my stash that I'm not in love with anymore, that are sort of this style, that I'm going to donate to my son's kinder. Whereas I did, after my little girl Georgie was born, I needed, because those are all female cards, I needed masculine cards, so I attempted the project again, this time using October Afternoon Campfire Pad. It's an old one. It's an 8 by 8. I still have quite a few papers here, but I was using all the spares to make a more clean and simple version to use them all up, which I've been enjoying a lot more. I actually really like this style of a card for those ones, and a lot of white. But it made me realize that those old paper pads that I no longer like or have grown out of, that they would be better off donated rather than me. My time is precious in here, so I want to use it spending time making things I want. Which is also leads to why I just haven't been using my space, because I can't use it at night. And when I do come in here and sit, just there where that box is, my 3-year-old likes to sit right there at the edge of the desk, and he wants to do whatever I'm doing. So in the end, we end up just stamping a bunch of dinosaurs, because that's what he wants to do. So we stamp dinosaurs on mixed media paper, then we get out his paints, and then we color them, and then the next time we're in here, we get the Cuttlebug out, and he uses the handle and cranks it out, and then we make more dinosaurs. So that's pretty much the extent of the time I spend at my desk. Or I might stamp out something, and then like a card front, and then he'll color it, and then he'll give that away, for a grandmother's birthday card or something like that. So I have had next to no time doing paper crafts in the last 5 months. Plus, a newborn bub. That takes up quite a bit of time. And then there's COVID. I mean, 5 years ago, would have loved COVID. Being stuck at home with all my craft room would have been awesome. Having a 3-year-old and newborn was a challenge. And it's still a challenge. I'm in Victoria, Australia. We're in the middle of our second wave of this COVID thing. So here in the country, we're not in lockdown, but we've been instructed to avoid contact where possible. But of course, Melbourne, the big city, got shut down right in the middle of school holidays, and a lot of them were out in the country so we're all holding our breath to see how many of them infected country people. So it's entirely likely the next week or two that we get put into lockdown as well. So let's just sort of wait and see. Again, we're nowhere near as bad as the US. I mean, it's like 300 to 400 cases a day, and I think they're doing 20,000 tests a day. So, yeah, but anyway. Right now, my son is at 3-year kinder, so that's still going for this week until we hear more. So he told me a couple days ago that he misses the world. I miss the world in a really sad voice, he tells me. So, oh, poor little guy. He's had a rough year. He likes to mingle and socialize. He's very much not like his mother. He's like his dad that way. I'm just showing here in the corner, aside from the toy box, I do keep all my pretty quilting fabric here. So they're actually turned away from the light, which is a bummer because I used to have them facing the light because they're so pretty. And in here I have some envelopes, which my son likes to pull out, so it's facing away as well. But I've got them faced away from the sun because I noticed after a few years they were starting to fade along the seams in the bind. So yeah, so that's where I'm at paper craft wise, which is nowhere. So I haven't seen any haul videos because I haven't bought anything, because I can't justify buying anything if I'm not using it. I have plenty of supplies here. There's plenty more that I would like. Speckled egg, Tim Holtz Distress. I need that. But I'm not going to get it. Maybe I'll change my mind for the Black Friday sales, but at this stage they're just gonna sit in my wish list and I'll dream about them at night. I have been crafty though. I have pulled out a bunch of things here that I have done in the last 6 months just to show you that I'm not, totally doing nothing. So I learned how to crochet and knit in the last couple of years up at the local knitting store. They have a lady that did lessons, so this is my latest crochet project. I finished my fox off. This is a present to my little baby girl. It was a pattern out of Molly Makes, and it was for a leopard. That's why it's got kind of funny ears for a fox. But I designed and created the pattern for the tail myself. So excited. This is my first attempt at, what do you call it? Argumani? Anyway, animals. I'll just call it that because I can't pronounce it. And just before my daughter was born, I finished it. I don't know if I've mentioned it in any other previous video, probably not. But I started this quilt in May 2019. Never done a quilt before in my whole life. No idea. But back in, I don't know, Melbourne Quilt Show 2016, before my son was born, there was this really cool kit from, I think it was Mercier. And as a pattern kit, and it came from this pattern from So Quirky. I loved it. Never seen a quilt like this before. So I bought it. And then at the knitting store, the lady who owns it, she's a mad quilter. She got me all inspired last May. And I'm thinking, I have a kit in the cupboard. I'm going to make it. Oh my God, this is not something you attempt as your first quilt. I learned a lot. Let me just say that. I've learned so much. I've got it all. Sorry, I should actually lay it out nicer. It's a really cool, fun quilt. The actual kit came with a lot more pinks, but because I had a son, I wanted to make it a little bit more gender neutral at the time. So there's a few things about the pattern I changed. 1, I used stars instead of hearts above the elephant. 2, I didn't like mice, so I hand drew an owl and a fox and did them. And then I also changed up the bunny. It was just a bit weird, so I changed the shape of it, to my eye anyway. And so I just made it a little bit more appeasing to my eye and changed that up. So I learned applique. Decided after I finished the quilt, don't like applique. No more applique quilts for me. But I did learn I like piecing. So that was fun. This piecing is not good. I don't think there's any points that match, and I was just making it work, but it was still lots of fun, so I'm not judging. And I also like binding. I got to the stage of binding. I heard all these horror stories about binding and people hating binding. Wow, I love binding. Binding's like my favorite part. It's the end. It's proof that I'm finished. The actual backing, I put down flannelette, just a 2 different types of flannelette. And I also changed the pattern. This is meant to be a quilt as you go pattern, which is where you, when you're actually finished applique, putting all the applique on, you're meant to have the top, the inside, and the backing all together and sew them together. And then you will end up with raw edges on the top that you cover with a seam. I didn't like the idea of that at all. So I went with a different version of quilt as you go, where you only use the middle, the batting, and the top, and you quilted that. And then later you added the backing, and you just minimal quilting on the backing. So I basically just stitched in the ditch for that last stage. Also learned how to free motion quilt. The pattern says to do straight line quilting. Nah, why would I do that? That'd be way too easy, wouldn't it? No, I wanted to make, because it's a scene, so I did all these little swirls and tried to make it look like wind and everything. So anyway, I like how it turned out. Like the stitch length isn't consistent or anything like that. And I could easily look at this and see a whole bunch of mistakes and whatever, but I'm proud of myself. I did a huge quilt, and I finished. So that took up a lot of time. Since then, I've made my son a quilt for his bed because we didn't have anything, and I have all this fabric. So he bought this Paw Patrol fabric, and I made it into something more to my style. I had a lot of low volume fabrics and blues, and I put some soft minky on the back. A little bit of fun binding with a little strip of black and white. I thought that was fun. This is my second quilt ever. And sorry, I'm slowly panning. This is quilt 3 and 4, sitting over here in the planning stages. Both Susie Quilt designs. I really love these. So I love her design. So this one here I want to make into a picnic blanket. So I've got a lot of canvas in my closet with no purpose, and canvas would be a great thing to make picnic blankets out of. And this is a pattern that uses yardage, which is perfect. So I'm gonna do that, and for the insides, instead of cotton batting or batting, I'm using polar fleece because it dries really quickly. So I wanted something that dries quickly but still has a bit of cushiness to it. And then for the backing, I'm going to use a shower curtain. So it'll be made to, I actually want 3. I want 1 for each car and 1 for the backyard, because we have picnics out here in the summer because we like to sit outside and have lunch. So those are the projects. I'm also doing the Sugary Doo quilt along because, you know, I'm a total quilter now. I'm totally hooked, let's be honest. So that project's in there. You get 1 row a month. So working on that. And the pirate banner, that's the latest edition. I got a free panel from a really nice ladies I bought some fabric off of. And then there's the cushion that came in the panel. So would you believe she got sent that to me? And I'm just chuckling because the next quilt I've got to make in the kitchen is I need a second quilt for his bed. So when I'm washing this one, I have something else. And he wants a pirate one. So that's what we're doing. New additions to the room. Curtains. Do you see? I have curtains now and a blind, all blackout because this faces east. And there's now a child living here, and I don't want to be woken up early. He's a really good sleeper. So I did the curtains myself. No pattern. We just got there in the end. These are my cool rope ties, which is really just string on a seat hook back there. And we put in a heater as well for this room because it's the farthest end from our wood heater, and that doesn't get heat down here. The door's closed. My trolley now lives up against the couch. A lot more got shoved into the closet. I'm not even going to attempt moving that aside. And I also did the leaf mat. This is pretty cool. It's coming up like a weird brown, but it's actually like a khaki green color. I don't know if I can get the right color. Maybe that. Saw something on Pinterest. Had to make it. It's actually a really awesome mat for my little baby girl to lay on because it's stuffed with memory foam that I cut down from a memory foam pillow that we had previously cut apart. into like 2-inch things, and my little tiny brother domestic machine powered through that and managed to sew it all up. I wasn't sure if it could, but it did, so I was pretty happy. And I've just made it out of linen, so really nice linen I've picked up at Spotlight. So we've done that. Is there anything else? I think I've chatted about everything. I'm about to do a video. I've sort of set up here. All my research with quilting has led me to solids, fabric colors, solids. I have a lot of prints. I've been collecting for years with no purpose, just collecting because it's pretty. And then when you start looking at quilts, you realize that I'm totally a modern quilter and I need some solids in my life to make the patterns that I want. So I'm going to do a comparison on the color chart versus the fabric panel that's available for Kona, just because I really wanted to know that information when I was researching and I couldn't find it anywhere in any social media thingy. So I thought I'll do it myself now that I've got both. And yeah, I think I've managed to talk about everything. Oh, I was going to say this room was not cut out for kids because my son got a cold, just a normal one. Nothing COVID, but we put a vaporizer in here. You notice the gaps as I'm scanning through. There was a lot more gaps, by the way. There still is. I've sort of covered them with other artwork. But we set up a vaporizer, and we bought a new one for this room because we thought having two would be useful for two kids, and it was a different brand. And I literally had condensation halfway across the ceiling. I had a broom, I had taped a towel to it, and was mopping it up, and it ruined all of my unframed artwork. And most of the frame stuff I had to pull down and take to the living room in front of the wood fire and dry out because it's MDF frames. I walked in, I'm like, oh my God. I was so thankful that I had the foresight to pull out all of my yarn and fabric out of the room and shove them into my husband's office, who gave me the most horrid look when I did it. Because it takes up so much space. And anyway, I didn't want it ruined, but I didn't even consider the walls. So needless to say, we threw out that vaporizer and we went and bought the exact brand that we had of the other one. And now there's minimal condensation, which is much better. But I still ruined artwork. But if you have any artwork that is water stained like this, it would be helpful for you to know that Jane Davenport's Unicorn White Pen pretty much fixes it. See, I colored this section up here. No more brown stains. It blends in pretty nicely. I think I might be able to save this. I still have to work on the on this part here with the looks like tea bag stains really on the wombat. But I think I could save this and put it back on the wall. So I've done some other saving. Again, super happy to have all these art supplies at my disposal when I need them. Because my mixed media, I had some old dictionaries. Totally cool because this ripped holes in it. See the hole? Yeah, there, the dark spot around it. So I had to put old, there's a cat hair. There's a lot more holes in here too. But you can hardly tell. I put some, see in the corner there, I put some different but old, I had some old dictionaries for mixed media, ripped out some pages, and then used my zigs to color match some colors. Same thing with this one. So like the red of the umbrella. Like while you show it I can see, but you know, I think I did a pretty good job color mixing it. And some grays over here. So anyway, I think I've done a decent job. I can save those ones. They had big holes in them too. And I pulled them off the wallpaper because I had stuck them up with white fun foam. So yes, I was pretty excited to have all these art mediums at my disposal to try to save some of these paintings. So yeah, I think that covers it, and I might videotape the next one. My little girl's sleeping, by the way, so I'm trying to keep this going. All right, I hope everyone has a great day and stay safe. Bye. There was one last thing I forgot. The birthday calendar. Oh my goodness. I did 2 months. So I know whose birthdays are in April and September, and that's it. Like everyone else, I'm really sorry. But I don't know when your birthdays are because they're all buried under this pile of boxes. I got 3 other months almost done. Well, the backgrounds are done. We'll go with that. So, in case you're wondering what happened to that series, that's gonna miss, I guess. even when I do get a chance to do it, I think I will not, I know that I won't be filming it. The editing process was just very time consuming, and at this stage I think I just want it done instead of recorded. So yeah. I do get to do a bit of coloring in the evenings if I want. My Copics live on the kitchen table, and I've pre-stamped a bunch of images just to color if I get a chance to, but usually in the evenings I will do some knitting while I'm watching Netflix or something. So I'm half done this jumper, which my husband's not that, he's can't see it, he can't envision it at this stage, so it's going to be a cropped jumper. So that was a lot of hours to do that. So that's the front or the back half, depending on which one looks better at the end. But I want to stop and do a little vest for my little girl. So that'll be the next project. And yeah, the other show and tell I missed was, hold on, I'll just relocate. This. I actually cut out all the pieces back when my son was like 6 months old, and it never happened. It sat in a project bag because I don't like hand sewing. So I thought with Georgie I better do it. It's actually two versions. There's one with the sheep and cows, and I gave the one with sheep to one of my really good friends who had a little baby boy 6 weeks after my little girl was born. So he got the other one, and Georgie got the one with cows because we are a cow family. So the Herefords and Simmies, the Border Collie puppy, and then the strings are all crocheted. Just and then it's attached to the clouds, the IKEA clouds. So one cool thing, if you have kids, because we know this isn't gonna be our forever home, but check this out. It sits in the door frame. It's one of those measuring thingies. It comes off. Yeah, it's from Full House Gold, or Full House Australia, sorry, on Etsy. It was really, really cool. So we can finally mark heights, and it doesn't take up space, and I can take it with me. I thought that was interesting. I thought you might like that. Oh, and the pirate flags. Did you see that before? Can't remember if I told you that. Okay, I will finish this now. I hope everyone's staying safe and having a great day and surviving, 2020. Okay, see ya. Bye.